Moving to the coronavirus situation here in South Korea and the world, we're now a few days into what are slightly eased social distancing measures before we shift into the South Korean government's so-called living with COVID-19 scheme.
Yes, to give us the latest updates and more, joining us live from our studio is our COVID-19 correspondent Kim Yeon-seung in the studio with us. Good morning, Yeon-seung.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now first, let's start with South Korea's COVID-19 tally for today. What are we expecting?
Well, last night saw quite a jump. 1,501 more people had tested positive by 9 p.m. Tuesday. That's almost 500 higher than the tally at the same time Monday night. Health authorities project that the total tally announced on Wednesday morning will round up to somewhere around 1,600.
Now, South Korea's newly confirmed COVID-19 cases on Monday and Tuesday were around the 1,000 mark, and we had been told by health authorities here that they had been expecting it to gradually continue going down. So what exactly has happened in the meantime?
Well, I first want to mention that these COVID-19 testing centers generally conduct fewer tests over the weekend, so the tally early in the week is generally lower compared to the rest of the week. Now let's look at the numbers. More than 3/4 of the infections stemmed from the Greater Seoul area, but there were also chains of infections detected in non-capital regions, notably Chungcheongbuk-do province. Until 10 p.m. last night, the province reported 69 local cases, seeing linked infections from a high school, middle school, and a nursing home.
Right. Now let's move on to the vaccination front. Do we have any updates in that area?
Yes, we certainly do. Health officials expanded the group of eligible recipients in the Boostershot campaign. They announced Tuesday that people who've gotten their COVID-19 vaccine doses overseas are also eligible for booster shots in South Korea. So this might be very relevant to many people watching Arirang News right now. These people can receive their booster shots 6 to 8 months after being fully inoculated. But for people with an immune deficiency, it's recommended that they get the booster shot 2 months after their most recent jab. They can start getting their booster jabs as early as next month.
And just fill us in by exactly what you mean by immune deficiency.
Right, so earlier this week, the government set specific standards on people who have certain immune deficiency, and these people are people who have these health conditions, including acute leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma, bone marrow fibrosis, and solid cancer. And people who've gotten a hematopoietic, that is a very difficult word to pronounce, stem cell transplantation within the last 2 years, or people who are on immunosuppressants 2 years after the procedure are also eligible to get the booster shot starting from next month.
Yes. Now, Yeon-seung, I heard the U.S. is also looking to greatly expand their booster shots. Tell us more on that.
Well, as part of their initiative, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration later this week is planning to allow the mix and match approach for booster shots. That means that people in the U.S. can get a different kind of COVID-19 vaccine as a booster. Currently, the FDA has only given the green light for Pfizer boosters in certain populations. But this move will give flexibility and perhaps lessen the appeal of Johnson & Johnson boosters that seem to have quickly waning vaccine efficacy compared to Moderna or Pfizer. Well, a study actually shows higher antibody levels in people who've taken the mix and match approach compared to people who've stuck with the same Johnson & Johnson shot. For example, Moderna's boosters showed actually the most impressive results. The study recorded a 76-fold rise in antibody levels for people who received a single dose of Johnson & Johnson and followed it up with a Moderna booster. This is much higher than the people who followed their Johnson & Johnson shot with a Pfizer booster, which showed a 35-fold antibody level increase. The people who got an extra Johnson & Johnson shot showed a 4-fold increase in antibody levels. This study, however, revealed preliminary results and relied on short-term findings from a small group of people. So it doesn't accurately show the levels of immune cells, which is also an important measure of the vaccine's success. It's also important to note that the study isn't conclusive to determine whether this approach is better, and the FDA actually plans to generally recommend sticking with the same vaccine. But if this move gets through, tens of millions of more Americans should be eligible for extra shots. The FDA is expected to finalize their decision Wednesday by Wednesday local time.
Okay, Yeon-seung, thank you so much for your report. I'll talk to you again in our midday newscast.
Thank you.
Thank you.